4/21/16. Singer Prince dies at 57 years old. His death occurred on the eve of Passover.
Prince has died at the age of 57. Prince was one of the most influential but elusive figures in music. He died at his compound in Minnesota. No details of the cause of death have been released. We will, of course, keep you updated as more information filters through.
Prince was signed to Warner Music in 1977 when he was just 18, or 666. Matthew 9:34 tells us that Satan is the prince of demons. Prince died in Minnesota, which has the Purple Horned Vikings as the symbol of its football team, which connects Prince to the horned goat god. We know that Satan is the prince of this world. John 12:31 declares, "Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out." John 14:30 also declares, "Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me." Also, John 16:11 tells us that the prince of this world is judged. Prince formed a band called The Revolution in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1979. Notice Prince is connected to revolution, just as Satan is connected to the revolution or rebellion in heaven. Prince and the Revolution both originated in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Remember, in our previous video, we showed the connection of Kobe Bryant to the serpent and the lost or fallen angels from the lake of fire, who were originally from Minneapolis as well. The name Minneapolis means water city. Therefore, Prince and the band Revolution from the water city clearly represents the horned goat god, Satan, the prince of this world, the beast from the sea, and his band of rebellious or revolutionary angels. Prince was also associated with the time, Vanity 6, and Apollonia 6. These names also connect him with evil and darkness. The time is a reference to Chronos, which literally means time. Chronos is a false god with a serpentine shape and 3 heads, those of a man, a bull, and a lion. Vanity 6 is a reference to the sin of vanity by Lucifer, whose heart was lifted up because of his beauty. This can be found in Ezekiel 28:17. Apollonia 6 is Apollyon, the fallen angel from the bottomless pit, found in Revelation 9:11. Prince performed the song Purple Rain at Super Bowl XLI in 2007, along with the FAMU Rattlers. Interestingly enough, XLI is an acronym meaning X-linked ichthyosis, which is a hereditary disorder of the skin characterized by dry, coarse, or scaly skin. This is a reference to the serpent seed, or scales of the serpent, which is the reason Prince performed with the FAMU rattlesnakes. It should be noted that Peyton Manning, number 18, which equals 666, and the Indianapolis Colts won the game. This connects Prince with the poisonous serpent, the number 666, the serpent seed, and the rider of the white horse, or Antichrist, found in Revelation 6:2. It has been reported that Prince suffered from epilepsy.
I've never spoken about this before, but I was born epileptic. And I used to have seizures when I was young. And my mother and father didn't know what to do or how to handle it, but they did the best they could with what little they had. And my mother told me one day, I walked into her and said, Mom, I'm not going to be sick anymore. And she said, why? And I said, because an angel told me so. Now,
notice he connects an angel to being cured from his epilepsy. In the scriptures, epilepsy is one of the signs that a person is demonically possessed. See Mark chapter 9, verse 17 through 29. In no way is this statement meant to imply that all people who suffer from epilepsy are demon possessed. Prince produced an album entitled Sign of the Times, using the peace sign or the cross of Nero in the album title. The peace symbol is a broken cross, a symbol of disrespect for Messiah. He also performed the song Party Like It's 1999, a song about the end of the world. Prince recorded a black album also, which was released on November 22nd, 1994, connecting it with a double 11. We know that the number 11 is symbolic of Antichrist and the age of Aquarius. Amethyst is the color of the stone associated with Aquarius, and Prince is also connected to the color purple or violet as well. Purple or violet is the color of the crown chakra. The color purple or violet is symbolic of royalty and insanity, madness, instability, and lunacy. The word violet is connected with violence. Therefore, the song Purple Rain means that madness, instability, or chaos and senseless violence reigns. This connects Purple Rain and Prince's death to the mass shooting which occurred on Friday, April 22nd in Pike County, Ohio, to 33rd degree Mason, Albert Pike, and order out of chaos. The crown chakra is also connected with duality. This chakra is often pictured as a lotus flower opening to allow spiritual awakening in an individual. Prince had a CD called Lotus Flower, which conclusively proves that he was practicing New Age spiritualism. People have been wearing the color purple as a tribute for Prince's death, unaware that they are actually symbolically saying that they are spiritually in tune with the age of Aquarius and its ruler, the Antichrist.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Electric word life, it means forever, and that's a mighty long time, but I'm here to tell you there's something else, the afterworld. Powerful world from Prince's Let's Go Crazy, being felt now, perhaps more than ever.
The world has got the look of Prince today. Emotional tributes unfolding across the performer's front gate in Minneapolis and coloring the world's landmarks thousands of miles away. In London, President Obama prepared for a meeting with the British Prime Minister by listening to a little bit of Prince.
It so happens our ambassador has a turntable, and so this morning we played Purple Rain and Delirious just to get warmed up.
Back home in the States, Niagara Falls roared into a new hue. At first for the birthday of Queen Elizabeth, and then for Prince.
The Black Album by Prince could be considered the polar opposite to the Beatles' White Album, released in 1968, also on November 22nd. Again, this is connected with duality. Interestingly enough, Prince's death occurred on the eve of the observance of Passover on the Jewish calendar this year. The very first Passover, as retold in the story, the Prince of Egypt, occurred in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, when Moses led the children of Israel out from under the oppressive rule of Pharaoh in Egypt. The Pharaoh of Egypt was considered to be the embodiment of Horus or Ra, the sun god, who was connected with the lotus flower, which represented the rising sun. Figures of Ra also depicted him as having the bearded head of a man, the body of a beetle, and the wings of a hawk. Therefore, we can connect Prince to the Prince of Egypt, the lotus flower, the pharaoh, and the sun god as well. Both the Beatles' White Album and Prince's Black Album together form the Masonic checkerboard, the yin and yang, duality, or the light versus dark dichotomy. Prince underwent a legal battle with his record company, Warner Brothers, and during this time he could not use the name Prince, so instead he used a symbol, which was a conflation of the symbol for male and female fused into one. This symbol then actually represents a hermaphrodite. It should be noted that Baphomet is a hermaphrodite. The fact that Prince wore high heels like a woman and had a hit song called If I Was Your Girlfriend lends credence to this assertion.
If I was your girlfriend, would you remember to tell me all of the things you forgot when I was your man?
This can also be connected to the recent news story concerning North Carolina's bathroom law.
Protesters rallied against the bill outside the State House today, while the public got a chance to tell lawmakers their opinion inside. As 7 News reporter Robert Kittle tells us, both sides say safety is at stake.
Opponents of what's being called the bathroom bill rallied outside the State House. Some of the protesters had been inside the Senate office building earlier, crammed into a subcommittee hearing on the bill. The bill would prohibit cities and counties from passing laws to allow transgender people to use restrooms or locker rooms of the gender they identify as. 18-year-old Capri Culpepper of Anderson faced discrimination in high school.
I just ask for you to look at me and tell me that I belong in a men's restroom. And obviously that would be wrong, because in doing so you would put me at risk.
Spartanburg Senator Lee Bright introduced the bill.
I do believe it's a right to privacy, and it comes down to a fundamental safety issue. I don't think men should be allowed in women's restrooms.
But opponents say the bill would not make anyone safer.
Senator Bright's bill forces this man, because he was born a woman, to go to the ladies' room.
Would your wife or your daughters like to share a bathroom with me? Would they feel comfortable if I walked in the room? I'm thinking it would not make them feel any safer, which is what you're saying this bill is supposed to do.
The mixture of male and female fosters the idea of a yin and yang, duality, or the philosophy of light and darkness being embodied in one individual. We have looked at the Dark Prince thus far. Now we will take a look at the light of the Prince of Light. Remember I told you Prince was from Minneapolis. General Mills has its factories in Minneapolis, and the city is known as Mill City, which is a reference to Messiah the Prince grinding the wheat and separating the wheat from the chaff. See Matthew 3:10-12. We know from Scripture that Messiah is the Prince of Peace. See Isaiah 9:6. And he is the Prince of the kings of the earth. See Revelation 1:5. Daniel 9:25 also calls him Messiah the Prince. The artist Prince was a Jehovah's Witness. But what does this signify? We know that the Jehovah's Witness organization is a cult which does not follow the truth of the scriptures. However, Prince's connection to Minneapolis and the name Jehovah or Yahweh's Witness is symbolic. Minneapolis is known as one of the Twin Cities. We know that during the tribulation period, Yahweh's twin witnesses will appear in God's power and glory in open view to the public to oppose Satan, his Antichrist, and false prophet for 1260 days. Revelation 11:3 declares, "And I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth." During the time when the artist Prince could not use the name Prince, he would wear the word slave written on the side of his face. This is a reference to being in bondage to sin and Satan. However, Messiah, the Prince, has set us free from that bondage to sin and death. See Luke 4:18, Isaiah 61:1, and Titus 2:14. During an interview with Tavis Smiley, Prince spoke about artists owning their masters and getting free from slavery.
In our very first interview and conversation together, it's obvious now that artists are supposed to own their master recordings. I mean, in the future, it'll be unconscionable to even think you can take somebody's creation and claim ownership of it. See, unfortunately, this discussion is going to start to barrel into a discussion about the human genome and the DNA and all the rest of it. When it gets there, then we're going to be in the deep water. See, so it's better to start the conversation now before we get into God talk, you know.
Notice how he connected this with the attempts by some to clone, modify, harvest, and patent human DNA, and the fact that no one can own the Creator's creation.
It'll be unconscionable to even think you can take somebody's creation and claim ownership of it. See, unfortunately, this discussion is going to start to barrel into a discussion about the human genome and the DNA and all the rest of it. When it gets there, then we're going to be in the deep water. See, so it's better to start the conversation now before we get into God talk, you know.
In closing, there are two princes. One is the prince of darkness and evil, who is Satan. The other is the prince of the kings of the earth, the prince of peace, Messiah, the prince. There are also two crowns, the purple crown chakra for those who are spiritually in tune with the age of Aquarius and all the madness, delirium, insanity, and chaos its ruler, the Antichrist and false Messiah, will bring with him. Or there is the crown of righteousness for followers of the true Prince and Messiah, the King of Kings. 2 Timothy 4:8 declares, "Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which Yahweh, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing." The Prince of Darkness, or the Prince of Peace. Choose whom you shall serve. Amen. Shalom.